Did you guys know that mental illness is kind of an asshole? Because Gabe Howard did. Did you like that intro?
I love the intro, Kody. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have Gabe Howard here with me, and we are going to talk a little bit about his book, Mental Illness is an Asshole. And before I let him talk about it, I just want him to give a brief intro to who he is. And before I let him do that, I want to say how jealous I am of this title. I told him this too. I was like, you nailed the perfect title for this book. But Gabe, let him know who you are, and we can talk a little bit more about the book itself.
Yeah, Kody, first, thank you so much for having me. My name is Gabe Howard. I live with bipolar disorder. Obviously, I wrote that book. I'm also a public speaker and a podcast host. My biggest podcast is Inside Bipolar. It's from Healthline Media. I host it with a board-certified psychiatrist. A lot of podcasts out there, the lived experience, and then the other half of the podcast, so the medical experience. We put them both together and hash it out right on the air. So it's a really cool podcast. And I'm super proud of it, but that's who I am in a nutshell.
Awesome. And we've known each other for a while now, and I actually met you through various different projects. Like, we connected over podcasts, we connected over mental health advocacy, and I actually found out about your book after I met you. And you sent it to me, and I meet advocates all the time who are like, read my book, and I'm like, I can only read so many books. Sorry, not a slam.
Damn, Kody, damn.
Someone I'm friends with as an advocate is going to see this and be like, I bet that son of a bitch never read my book. But I'm not going to lie. You sent this to me, you signed it, and I automatically, the title got me. I was like, oh, okay, right away I can relate to this. You know, it's something that I saw the title, I'm like, I agree with that. You know, it's something that I felt like was definitely true, and it's captivating, you know. And can you talk a little bit about why you put together the book, how it came to be, and why you think mental illness is an asshole?
There's so many questions in there, and I'm going to try to hit them all, Kody, so make sure that I stay on track. So first off, the reason that the book is named Mental Illness is an Asshole is because before there was social media that was really big, there was blogging that was really big. And blogging has trends just like TikTok has trends, etc. And somebody wrote an article called 3-Year-Olds Are Assholes, or My 3-Year-Old is an Asshole, and a mommy blogger.
Yeah.
And it went hugely viral, right? This mother's really related to this idea that their 3-year-old was an asshole, and it was cathartic, right? And they loved it. And this spawned a whole group of people writing articles, such and such is an asshole. You know, if you were a relationship expert, it was my husband's an asshole,
right?
Yeah.
Just whatever topic.
Yeah, if you were a dating expert, dating is an asshole, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was a mental health expert, or, you know, mental health advocate, and I wrote the article, Mental Illness is an Asshole. And that was the seed, right? Now, but more specifically, I've always sort of personified mental illness in my mind, right? Bipolar disorder, I have described, even before the book, even before the internet trend, I always described bipolar disorder as like a bad roommate, right? Because I always say, like, I'm in recovery with bipolar disorder.
Okay.
I live with bipolar. I don't say I'm in recovery from, because from implies that it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
With implies that it's still here and we've reached some sort of, you know, like accommodation.
Mutual agreement.
Yeah. Like I hate my roommate, but we both agree that we can't afford to move out, and we've signed a lease. So we've put together some boundaries and some safeguards that we're still living together, but we both understand that we hate each other and we're leery of the other one.
Yeah.
But we've created peace in our home. And that's how I always looked at bipolar disorder. It's this asshole roommate that I'm stuck with, but as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, and bipolar disorder does what it's supposed to do, I will be fine. And I was bullied a lot as a kid. So I had a lot of bullies that I was forced to go to school with, because you're mandated by law to go to school. Yeah. So it's not like I could not see them. I had to exist with them. Yeah. And the thing that anybody who's been bullied always knows is where their bully is. Mm-hmm. They always know where they are. They're always on the lookout for their bully. They know where their classes are. They know what hallways they walk down. They know how to avoid them. They run all this interference to make sure that their school day goes well so that they get the least amount of bullying possible. And that's exactly how I always treated bipolar disorder.
Makes sense.
And that's exactly how I look at mental illness. And when I was a blogger and when I became a podcaster, I always tried to explain how to reach recovery, how to manage this illness, how to think about this illness, what analogy to use. And I noticed that all of my analogies surrounded some form of personifying your illness and then looking at it like an enemy, looking at it like a bully, looking at it like, an annoying family member. This can go on forever.
Yeah.
And that sort of created itself to asshole because some woman was annoyed at her 3-year-old.
I love that. Well, and so you started that by saying you used to write a blog. For anyone who isn't 100 years old, what's about? No, I'm just sorry. Low blow.
They're like articles, all right, but they're online.
What was there things on the internet before TikTok? Sorry,
Yeah, it was called Twitter and Facebook. Actually, no, I'm not even right there. It was called MySpace.
Oh yeah,
I've even got that
I did have
wrong.
a MySpace actually. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So I'm old enough for that. No, of course, like I love the concept. What are some of the things you actually discuss in here? I've read it, but for anyone who wants to check it out, you don't have to go into full stories. Just touch on some topics about like what you go through, what topics you discuss, and how it might benefit someone with bipolar disorder or just mental illness in general.
Kody, I really look at it as like a resource book, right? Because it's called Mental Illness as an Asshole and Other Observations because it's just a bunch of blog articles. Really, at its core, it's 380 pages of just different articles that I wrote over a 5-year period that I put into a nice little collection. So there's things in there about how to manage bipolar disorder, how to manage depression, how to manage anxiety, how to talk to your loved ones about mental illness, how to help somebody who's suffering, things to say, things not to say, things that annoy me, things that don't annoy me. And then the whole book ends with just a bunch of blogs that I wrote every year on my birthday, largely about how I felt that bipolar disorder impacted the previous year, because I always get really solemn on my birthday. I don't like it. I always feel like I'm behind, I'm missing out, I haven't achieved enough. And I started writing articles about it. I'm really fond of saying this, though, and I mean this with all sincerity. There is absolutely something in that book you will love. There is also something in that book that you will hate. And I think that's really powerful because it's not preaching to the choir. There's stuff in there that you're going to disagree with and you're going to think Gabe has completely missed the mark and he's wrong. And I am so proud of that because I did not get into this to build fans. I got into this to build critical thinkers.
Yeah.
If you are reading about my experience and you think that's completely wrong, then you know that's not right for you. And you know not to try that in your own life or to try that with your loved one or whatever the case may be. I think that's beautiful. And I got to tell you, if you read something in there and it pisses you off, I think that anger is an underserved emotion. Ask yourself why. Explore it a little. What made you so mad about it? Like I like to think the book drives emotion and internal conversations that can lead to external conversations. And that's why I'm super proud of it. But also the last thing I'll say about it sincerely is I also think it's a book that you can visit time and time again. Yeah. Now that the book's been out for a few years, I have a lot of people who will write me and they'll be like, Gabe, I still have this article bookmarked. And I got to tell you, about once a year, I find myself drawn to it and I reread it because it reminds me of what I need to do. It recenters me. It puts me back in the moment where I first discovered this little piece of advice. And because it's not, you don't have to read the whole book. You just have to read a couple of pages. People find that to be really beneficial. So I like that I didn't intend for that to happen, but that's something that my readers have told me that they've done it. They kind of use it as a resource guide to kind of give them a kick in the pants or a pat on the back or whatever it is that they feel they need at the moment.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I've read it. I really enjoyed it. And it's not just the title. I always talk about how much I love the title of it. There is a lot of insight you have in here. And I really like how you said you might love some parts and you might hate some parts. I've had a lot of mixed emotions reading it. It was still pretty early on in my own advocacy. And so for me, I was doing pretty good with my own healing journey and my journey through medication and treatment. But I even had some opinions about advocacy in there that I was like, I have a hard time believing he thinks that. And like, I wonder if he's changed his mind on that. But you are someone who is always like challenging thoughts and ideas. And I love that. And that's what's super cool about this. When you put this book together, did you have an idea of like a target audience, or was this just, hey, I just want to do this for me and hope people see it? Or who really were you trying to reach with this compilation of all of your blogs?
Here's the truth, Kody. I didn't have anybody in mind because I didn't think anybody would buy the damn thing. I sort of got, I don't want to say forced into it because I went in it on my own, but here's a definite case of people knowing better than me. And thankfully, I was smart enough to listen. A woman came up to me and said, you should write a book. And I said, no, that's dumb. Nobody's going to buy anything that I wrote. She pointed out that I was a blogger. People are already reading it. I said, those are blogs. Those are different. She said, they're really not. And what I would recommend is putting your blogs into a collection, putting them in some sort of order, revamping them a little, maybe adding a little original content. And trust me, this will sell like gangbusters. And she got a publisher. She did all the work. And the whole time she was doing it, I stood over her and called her stupid. I can't be more frank than that. I was like, this is dumb. Nobody's going to buy this. And she did all the work. Listen, she did all the work. I wrote the couple additional pieces for it. I kind of had some sign off on it. I got, some permissions, but even that was like, pushing a giant rock up the hill. And again, I want to be clear. I told her and the publisher the entire time that nobody is going to buy this book.
Yeah.
That was well over 5,000 copies ago. It is sold like gangbusters. Whenever I go speak, people line up and buy it and people want me to sign it. And to this very day, I am still sending out a couple of books a week.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it to save my life, but whatever the target market is, it resonated and people love it. And the biggest compliment that I get is they're like, we don't feel that you're lying to us.
Yeah.
We feel like you gave us an unvarnished look at certain things, and whether we like it or not, you've left it up to us. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I am proud of it. And huge, huge, huge shout out to the people who are smarter than I am. And the only compliment I can give myself, Kody, is that I was smart enough to let them work for free on my behalf.
There you go. Well, it's truly like you said, really a great read. There's a lot of good insights. There's a lot of things that you might challenge in your own thinking, and I highly recommend it. I'm not someone who reads a lot, and as someone who just published my own first book
congratulations,
that you got to be a part of.
I did. Thank you.
And I'm super excited for that. And you, once I did it, I came to you and I said, writing a book was harder than I thought it was going to be. And now I'm going through all the other stuff you talked about. And so it's been really interesting to see that side of it, but I am super pumped about helping you share this to more people, because I think you reached a lot of people when it first came out, and I think a lot of people that watch my videos are going to see the title and go, well, I think that, so I might need to check it out.
Head over to GabeHoward.com and I'll sign you a copy right now. I'm sure there'll be a Chiron and it'll say it.
Oh, so yeah. I'll put it in the description.
I'm just saying nonsense at this point.
I will put it in the description for you too, but if you think mental illness is an asshole, you might want to check out this book. Thank you, Gabe, so much for coming on, chatting with me. And you guys can check him out on social media as well, and then check out GabeHoward.com. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one.